Hello guys, welcome back to the Artist Spotlight. Today we're here at Jam Art Gallery and we are spotlighting an incredible artist. Just introduce yourself.
My name is Arthur, Arcturus or Artoso in TikTok, Arcturus in Instagram, but Arthur in the daily life.
Oh, hi Arthur.
How you doing?
Good. And I just want to know a little bit about how you got started with the arts and a little bit about your back history.
My background history, I studied in the Superior School of Arts in Ecuador in Guayaquil. I moved down there for a set amount of years in my early 20s. I exhibited in an Antropological Museum of Guayaquil. I did a lot of contemporary art with a group called Zuacata. It was an association dealing with protest art. We would go down to the humdrum districts and promote art also in the impoverished communities down there in Guayaquil. I was in my early 20s, so I really just wanted to exhibit. I really just wanted to show myself off. I wasn't really penetrated in the seriousness of their art or their concept of why they wanted to exhibit, but they saw the rawness of my art and the creativity of my art. And I always used textured mixed media, even back then. I had an awesome opportunity to do installation art, performance art, and actually worked with one of the international figures. You can check him out on the site on Instagram. His name is Javier Bloom. He is an international artist. He did installations and he also exhibited in Sao Paulo in Brazil. Alan Jess was my professor. He also is a great associate of his. I went through this phase in my younger years and all of a sudden a darkness came into my life. I didn't want to know nothing about art. I didn't want to know nothing about exhibiting. I did, certain drawings, certain things here and there. And then, not meaning to sound so religious, but I am very religious oriented now. My perception of art is very different. My perception of wanting to gather the community to provoke thought in the community is very distinct now. I'm Christocentric. If you look at my site in Arcturus12, also on their Instagram, you will see it in the intro that I'm dealing with the Christocentric ideal in a contemporary setting. So now, as I began all of a sudden to exhibit again after 20 years of not exhibiting, I know I have the talent, so I began to exhibit in the Seminole County Historical Museum, in the Mayflower Retiring Center, and now I had an awesome privilege of meeting Kenneth, who is the owner of Jam Art Gallery, and he has provided me a space and has welcomed anybody who wants to exhibit in this gallery, which is a great blessing for me. And now, since this late period of my life, in my late 40s, like I said, I have a Christocentric idea of why I want to incorporate my art to the community and express and really help with, this is why I linked myself with Kenneth, because I would love to project myself into the community dealing with art therapy. I still do mixed media art. I've done my a little season of doing toothpaste pieces. I do a lot of pieces with mixed media, with raw and crude material, basically because there are aspects of life. If you walk in the sidewalk, you will see crudenesses. I mean, if I could say a crude piece of sidewalk. I mean, that's maybe broken or maybe not even all the way paved perfectly. And as you walk, even in the sidewalk, you see some places that are perfected and well done and some places that are crude and raw. So I express my material and I work with my material as an emblem, as a symbolism, as a representation of our lives, and that we shouldn't be afraid of using the rawness and crudeness of materials because it's a part of our life and the way we live. There's going to be some bumps in the road. There's going to be some dark spells in our lives. There's going to be havocs. There's going to be times where you seem like you're living in literal hell. But in the end, with my Christocentric ideal being that I found Christ Jesus in my life, I know that it's all works for a purpose of a final means. And so my validity now as an artist is to draw people into the kingdom of God through a contemporary setting. So that's basically in a nutshell what's been my background in my early years and as to now.
Yes. And I know that Christ is definitely a big influence and just healing people. What inspires you on a daily to create the pieces that you do with the meaning that they portray?
Dealing with the mediums that I use, I actually have lately received a lot of influence and inspiration through my work. I got a menial job and I'm not ashamed of it. I'm really proud of it. And I see these textures in the dish room and the grease that comes down. And me as an artist, I'm sensitized to life. So when I see it, I was like, wow, how can I make this a reality through cement? And I've been using caulk lately, and in the dollar store. And I've been using it for my textured mediums lately. That one of them is actually portrayed in the art house. And I used stuck caulk, and I used toothpaste again, and I use these mixed mediums. So what has sparked my creativity lately is introspection of myself as it relates to people with similar traumas, with similar processes of life. I believe that every one of us has a shade of blue. We're all human, so we could say that's the blue, but we are different shades of blue. Some of us dark blue, some of us light blue, some of us sapphire blue, which is the reason why I did a butterfly piece in this very gallery dealing with the blue butterfly. But in all of that, there's a commonality. There's the sense of blueness. There's a sense of humanity. So that's what I see. That's my desire, to somehow, through my creativity, find that touch of identity between the artist and the community as it concerns my concept and my religiosity.
Perfect. I know when we were talking prior, you mentioned something about your art wanting to heal a certain individuals. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Well, I can give you a testimony.
Absolutely.
I've dealt with youth ministry, and for the sake of prudence, I don't want to sound too harsh, but I've met with abused youth that have been terribly abused mentally, verbally. And through my artistry, actually, in these settings that I've been in with them, I found a way for them to partially heal themselves. My main thing right now for me in my phase of life is introspect, and this is my suggestion to the ones that are listening, that are aspiring to be artists. Don't even go to the gallery and exhibit unless you have the gallery in your own house and exhibiting for yourself. Don't want to be admired or don't want to help people unless you learn to admire and help yourself. And of course with me, through God's sight, because my favorite exhibit is in my room. I have pieces all around me, and I just see them as if they were in a gallery. And the visionary discipline that you have, and imagine that you're in a gallery, it creates an assurance in yourself as an artist. And sometimes, and I'm saying this as a personal testimony, very heartfelt right now, what I want to say right now. I was launched off towards international artistry, and it never became true because of the dark spell that came in my life. Because my agents, per se, at that time, in the late 90s, early 2000s, they just released me really quick and they rushed it. But I never understood myself. I had all the talent, I was exhibiting, but I had no introspect. And a lot of famous artists like Jean-Michel Basquiat, Gorky, abstract expressionist artist, they are famous. They are written in history books as the forefather of contemporary art. But guess what? One of them committed suicide. The other one felt bad because he got in a crash, Gorky, Arshil Gorky. And all of a sudden he felt bad because he idolized his art and he ended up killing himself also. As a challenge to the ones that are listening, so what was the purpose of you being the forefather of abstract expressionist art? Even though you're reputable to anybody that studied in the arts, if you killed yourself. And this is why I want to deal with art therapy. Because there's a number of artists, like I released in one of my reels, they're doing art, but they don't understand themselves all the way. They still have traumas, they still have things that they're not dealing with, even while they do their art, because there's no identity of what they're doing in their art. And so, yes, they're expressing, and they might be exhibiting, but you can be a most prominent artist and never understand yourself, just like Michael Jackson, right? I mean, I love Michael Jackson now, props to Michael Jackson, but what happened? And that's not what humans were made for. And I don't believe that's why God molded Adam in the beginning, you know? So to answer your question, my main emphasis in the beginning, before I come to this gallery with the blessing that it's provided me with to exhibit, is to exhibit within myself, in my own house, and to have order within my own house, and to have talent, to to understand my talent within my own house and feel assured in myself that if I don't exhibit or do exhibit, with money or no money, with reputation or no reputation, I still love myself because I am the only one who produced my art. So that would be, to answer your question, that would be the perfect answer. Para todos los latinos, la comunidad latina, quiero darle una bendición muy grande y quiero hablar con ustedes un poquito de la introducción que ha sido dado en inglés. Soy un artista en la Florida Central. Me puedes ver en el site de Arcturus 12 Oso en Instagram y también debajo Artoso Oso, y también estoy en Oso 859 en YouTube. Si quieren averiguar algo inesperado, si quieren averiguar algo inspiradora, si quieren entender lo que es cambiar en una manera cristocéntrico a través de la expresión del arte, están bienvenidos a estos lugares para visitarme y entender mi arte un poquito más profunda.
Well, thank you so much, Arthur, for telling us a little bit about your journey as an artist. And just if you wanna let your audience know anything else.
First of all, I'd like to thank you. And I think you are a precious jewel in that you've considered me as an artist. So, and that you've considered the owner of this shop. So basically, my tribute is to you and to everybody that's willing to listen, willing to learn this side of life, which is the arts, you know, the art realm. And that's basically it. I mean, I'm really appreciative to this opportunity.
Well, thank you guys for watching, and make sure to stay tuned to the Artist Spotlight and go ahead and follow Arthur on all his social media platforms to get to know a little bit more about his art journey. All right?
Thank you.